guys, this is Sean from PlayByPause. People who have been in this industry already know that Sony GM lenses always offer us the best optical and also performance for our alpha camera. So they already have quite a number of 50mm native lens, the standard 50mm F1.8, the pancake 50mm F2.5, and also the beast 50mm F1.2 GM. Obviously, all of them serve different purpose, and right now, the Sony released their new 50mm F1.4 GM. You might be wondering why this lens is not with me, because I've already returned it to Sony after I did some tests and also some comparisons. But not to worry, in this video, I'm still able to share you my thought and also a comparison test or videos between the 50mm 1.2 and also the standard 50mm 1.8. So let's get into it right now. This is literally a smaller version of 50mm F1.2 GM lens. It looks identical except the additional iris lock buttons, which I appreciate so that now I wouldn't change my aperture when I don't want to. Besides that, it has two focus buttons which are handy for portrait shooters when you switch between vertical and horizontal. You can also set your aperture ring to declick or click depending on how you like to use it. It has 67mm front filter diameter and weighs 516 grams, which is around 35% lighter than the F1.2 GM lens. As you may expect from a GM lens, it is dust and moisture resistant. Like other GM lenses, it performs pretty perfect in most of the time. It excels in autofocusing and also optical quality based on my real-world experience. I have bought this lens to several portrait photography sessions and also some wedding video sessions. So right now I'm going to show you some behind the scenes to show you how it performs in a real project. To give you guys a context on what I'm using an A7 III for these portrait sessions. I'm using the IAF and continuous autofocus during these photo sessions. So as you can see, the IAF tracking works flawlessly with this lens at wide open f1.4. I have no complaint about the autofocusing speeds. It's snappy, smooth, extremely reliable in every situation. During these sessions, there isn't any moments I felt unpleasant. The user experience of using this lens feels so natural to me. It's fast, it's snappy, it's sharp, it handles flare very well. The one crazy thing that I realized with this lens is there isn't any visible chromatic aberrations even in a very contrasting areas. Besides that, I also bring it to one of my wedding projects. So when it comes to wedding, I'm a big fan of gimbal because I like to create a more dynamic and lively image using gimbal movements. However, holding a gimbal throughout the day is not going to be easy. Therefore, I always prefer smaller setups. My go-to setup is going to be my A7S III with a DJI Ronin RSC2 paired with a few lightweight lenses such as the 24mm GM, 35mm F1.8, 85mm F1.8, and also the Viltrox 45mm F1.8. So all these lenses have the same characteristics, which is small and lightweight. Due to the size and weight, I wouldn't use GM lenses such as 50mm F1.2 for my gimbal setups. The new GM F1.4 changed my mind. I'm very comfortable using this lens on a gimbal throughout the day for hours. This lens reminds me of the 35mm GM 1.4, short, light, and has a good enough bokeh and has a fast autofocus, thanks to the Sony XD linear models. Besides, it is very quiet. So besides then the real experience, I also did some comparisons while I'm traveling to Malacca. To give you guys some context about Malacca, Malacca is a town known for its antique shops and historical buildings. It's a city that is culturally rich. Just check out this place if you decided to visit Malaysia. Anyway, for the first test, focus breathing. The focus breathing in GM lenses is pretty obvious, especially when it comes to close focus. But GM lenses always excel at autofocusing. I have not encountered any issue with autofocus. It always fast and snappy. On top of that, the camera does part of the focusing job. As you can see, even the most affordable 50mm F1.8 does a pretty decent job. The manual focus is pretty decent. The Sony F1.4 GM has a smooth focus ring compared to F1.2. Both the GM lenses offers you a linear focus, which is good enough for most cases, but you will still get an inconsistent RAM focus when you have a long focus through. This happens to most of photographic lenses. As for 50mm F1.8, it uses fly-by-wire focus, which means the distance of focus shift is directly proportional to the speeds of turning ring. Next up, bokeh. There's some cat-eyeing with the bokeh at 1.4, but the cat-eye gets better when you stop down to f2 onwards. But still, you can get some aperture bleeds. Flare-wise, both GM lenses are also well controlled. The standard 50mm 1.8 is soft in this department. Next up is the sharpness test. Before I jump into the comparisons, I just want to point out that the standard 50mm f1.8 seems to be a little bit tighter compared to the GM lenses. As you would expect from the GM lenses, both 50mm f1.2 and f1.4 did a fantastic job at f1.2 and f1.4. The Sony F1.8 still is the weakest among all. Even the f2.8, the GM lenses are far better than the standard 50mm f1.8. So that's pretty impressive. Next, let's talk about the chromatic aberrations and vignetting. As I mentioned earlier, from my real-world experience, I can barely notice any chromatic aberrations on the 50mm F1.4 GM. You may notice some if you zoom in 300%. The GM F1.2 might be slightly better if you stop down to F1.4, but like I say, it's barely noticeable. You can see some vignetting at the corner at wide open f1.2 and f1.4, and f2.8, the chromatic aberration and vignetting from both GM lenses are mostly gone. The standard f1.8 still struggle on that until you stop down to f4. After all of this, I think the biggest difference between the GM lenses and other lenses is the colors and contrast. The GM F1.2 and 1.4 create pretty identical results. You can definitely tell from the raw photos and video. The GM lenses produce a consistent skin tone and colors is very pops compared to the standard lens. Aside from that, the GM lenses have better contrast too. Overall, the GM lenses have better colors and optical results. Overall, the 50mm f1.4 is definitely one of the top quality lens you can consider besides than f1.2. The 50mm f1.4 is lighter, smaller, it comes with extra iris locks. The only difference I can differentiate between the f1.2 and f1.4 is just the 0.2 differences. So to me, this lens is great for photo and video shooters. It's definitely light enough for your gimbal use. And also it creates a beautiful bokeh for photos and videos. So I hope these videos is going to be useful and entertaining for you. If you do, please like, subscribe, and probably share this video to any of your friends and families who consider to get a 50mm in their next purchase. And as always, create, learn, and have fun. I will see you guys in the next video.